Yeah, obviously really excited about, the three student athletes that signed today and are now officially part of the Razorback basketball family. And I think, speaking of family, it really starts with, not just the player / student athlete, but also the family, meaning the inner circle, moms, dads, coaches that have all been a part of the recruiting process. And we feel like, all three of these guys, families have been really bought into what we're about, what our culture's about. And then obviously, all three we believe are really, really talented players. They're going to have a huge impact on us. And with that, I'll just kind of open it up to any questions.
Coach, I know different programs pay different amounts of attention to recruiting rankings and things like that. But with Jordan Walsh, to not only land a 5-star prospect, but to go outside the borders of the state to do that, what does that mean for the program?
Yeah, Jordan Walsh is, when he's such an explosive athlete. He was my, favorite guy to watch at that wing position, and actually, he's got some unique abilities to be a passer too. He's a grab and go guy. Like, he can grab a defensive rebound and ignite your fast break. But he's an electric athlete to watch. Like, people are going to love watching him play in Bud Walton. He's got explosive dunks. He's got creative passing ability off the bounce. He can make 3-point shots. He can guard positions 1 through 4. He can play positions 1 through 4. And certainly anytime a player is, a top 10 talent and a 5-star, they're hard to get involved with even. But his dad, John, and his mom, Sandra, they were open, and his brother, and when they came on campus, there was we would have been like deeply hurt if he wouldn't have been a Razorback player, because we felt a real connection to the entire family. I can tell you that.
Just kind of what you look for out of Pinion, and plus his significance being an in-state player.
Yeah, I think the thing with Joseph is, he's the first one to step up and in this class and say, hey, I want to be a Razorback player. I think that's always a powerful message when somebody believes in what's going on and wants to commit at an early stage. But he obviously is, a great shooter with deep range. He's got incredible passion to be a Razorback player. His dad and his mom and his sister, they've been on, several football games, and I think he's really, really excited about getting on campus. And obviously he's become more and more healthy, playing now without the knee brace, but gives us good length and a guy that can play the 2-3 spot.
Bob?
Yeah, I guess some about Barry going in and getting a guy out of Alabama when they've obviously got it going pretty good to go in there and kind of steal one.
Yeah, no, Barry is multifaceted. He can, another really, really versatile player. He's great off the elbows. He's a really, really, really good passer and a willing passer. Very well coached. He really understands spacing. He's got a really high basketball IQ with the ball in his hands and when the ball's not in his hands. A guy that can score with his back to the basket, can score around the rim, can face up. But I think his passing right now really separates him at his size. And, another family that when they came on campus, we kind of felt when he was here, even the first day, that, is this guy going to possibly commit? Because a real bond. And Barry's mom's brother is Pete Myers, who actually played for my dad in some minor league all-star games, and obviously Pete played for the Bulls and longtime NBA coach and a longtime NBA executive. And my very first phone call with Barry's mom, she said, "You're lucky your dad's not still coaching," because that's who Barry would play for, because she remembered when my father coached at South Alabama. And when you have these phone conversations, you got to figure out, like, who do you invest your time on, and who do you have a real chance with. And when Barry's mother said that, we all felt as a staff that we had to really go all in, even though we knew that he's from Bama, and Alabama's got a great program, and Auburn's got a great program, but and a lot of the SEC schools were recruiting him. But all three guys, just because they can play multi-positions, I think, are a really good fit for us.
I know you can't talk about guys who haven't signed, but I assume you're anticipating more additions, and just how good do you feel about that, maybe when the whole class is finalized?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we can only, discuss, the three guys today, but we feel really good about the direction, the way we're building this thing, and I think we saw, last year the impact of what the four freshmen can do. Again, three of them, starting on an Elite Eight team, and three of those guys starting, the last few games in the tournament, and two of them starting, basically the second half of the season. So these guys are going to have an impact for sure, and a really, really positive impact. And it's, for many of them, it's going to be an impact right away, just like we saw last year with some of the guys.
Christina?
Coach, how does having some of these high caliber and ranked and star recruits, you've got some number ones in their states, how does signing those kind of bigger name guys help you in future recruiting classes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just, for the younger classes to see that, Arkansas is whatever, 2 or 3 or whatever it may be, nationally from a recruiting, I mean, it's interesting because when Kareem, Moody, and I, had our first initial conversation, it was not necessarily with Kareem, but it was just like with the kids, like student athletes, like, is it cool? Is it a cool program? And I think right now, nationally that, Arkansas has, because of winning, and we do some stuff off the wall and a little bit unique, and I think the crowds, I think there's just so many things that become attractive to players nationally right now, and that's why, we've done fairly well nationally and also in state.
Curtis? Obviously, you can only speak to the 3 signees, but just thinking back to what you set out to accomplish with this class in terms of just the type of players and the things that you were looking for to bring to the program, how pleased are you with what you've done?
I mean, we're really pleased. I mean, I think, the thing that's really unique is just, the investment as far as the time that you have to put in when you're recruiting guys, that are this good. I mean, it's building the relationship. It's daily phone calls. It's FaceTimes. It's, walking away from TV shows with your wife at 9 o'clock at night to continue to build relationships with family members and inner circle people that are close to the student athlete. But I mean, we're more than excited. Again, I think that last year, kind of showed what can happen if you get the right pieces, regardless of, is it a transfer, is it a freshman? I mean, if they're really good players, freshmen can have a huge impact, like an incredible impact, and we feel like, this class is heading in that direction for sure.
Was there any concern going in, just given the restrictions with the recruiting and being able to get out and get in the gym, and then when that opened back up this summer, how beneficial was that to be able to get out and physically see these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite honestly, there's a reason that we went really hard after that group of 4 guys, and then during the pandemic, Look, when you scout in the NBA, if you're watching stuff on film, it helps a little bit, but you got to see guys live. You got to see how they run. You got to check out their body language. You got to see how competitive they are. How are they on the third day of AAU after, like what's their toughness? We didn't want to have a large class, for what's here now because we couldn't see them. And so this group I've seen them. I'm not relying on, the assistant. Like I've seen these guys with my eyes. I've envisioned how each of these three guys can fit in, what their strengths are, areas that they have to improve on that we've talked to them about. And you got to win with stars too, and we feel like, this class is going to have some star players for sure.
Coach, I know you can't talk about them, but are you still confident you'll still add a couple more guys to this group, a couple more high school guys?
Yeah, I mean, right now, Hutch, the only thing we can talk about is three guys that have signed, and like I said, we're ecstatic about all three of them.
All right, we'll now turn our attention to Gardner-Webb.
We are?
Yeah. That's why you got your cheat sheet back.
Oh, no, this is for practice.
Oh.
All right, I guess I'm on the spot on Gardner-Webb. I will say I'll know a lot more about Gardner-Webb late tonight. They play their first game at UNLV tonight, which I think is a 9 o'clock tip-off, which is the same time Snoop Dogg's coming on, and I will be at the Snoop Dogg concert, so I'll find after I get back from Snoop Dogg is when I'll jump into Gardner-Webb. So I'm assuming if he plays for 2 hours, that'll be 11 o'clock. I'll start my film work at about 11:30 tonight and know a little bit more about 1:30 a.m. about Gardner-Webb. But fire away with any questions since Mike put me on the spot.
Eric, I know you said Devo played real good defense last night. I think he had 4 boards. But, he didn't take a shot. In 34 minutes, he had 5 turnovers. Watching the film, would you like to have seen him be more aggressive offensively, or do you like the fact that he had 4 shots? Or just what do you think about that? Do you figure that's definitely going to be the exception, not the rule from him offensively?
Yeah, I mean, if we took care of the ball, we'd have some shot attempts too. I mean, like I said to you guys last night, we just don't want any live ball turnovers at all. His defense was incredible. But yeah, we want him to look to score the ball. I thought that last year he was in a lot of situations where they were broken plays or the play had broken down and Devo just created and rose up over people and made a lot of mid-range shots and took the ball coast to coast and made some spectacular finishes. So we certainly want that to be the case again, and we want him to grow off what he was last year offensively.
What are you expecting from him in this next game from an offensive standpoint?
Well, I'll probably move him back to the point, Bob, and last night he played a little bit of 1, some 2, some 3. First 2 exhibition games, he was exclusively at the point guard position. I mean, that's still a position that we want to try to find some consistency and try to find somebody that's comfortable there. JD, I mean, take that many shots, I'm not so sure we could call you a point guard.
He's a points guard.
Just anything off the film last night, either good or bad, that you didn't notice last night that you saw on the film?
Yeah, I thought that in the second half we were elite at times defensively. I really felt like we were elite out of the 20-minute half. I would say there was about 15 minutes where we played about as good as we possibly could. I mean, even a couple of their scores there were off loose balls that got deflected, or maybe we played great defense for 22 seconds and then there was a scramble and they got the ball, and kicked it to someone and they might hit a three or so. I thought we really settled in, became a lot more comfortable in that second half.
Curtis?
I guess this answer could probably change after your 1 a.m. film session tonight, but I know Gardner-Webb does have a lot of guys returning. Is there anything that stands out off the cuff, personnel-wise, that you've noticed early on?
I mean, we're going to have to defend the three. Obviously, number 4, Williams, 22, Sears, 0, Terry. Their guards are can really score the ball, can shoot the ball from beyond 3, and then their 3 interior guys, again, since they haven't played, we're only anticipating, but their 3 interior guys, 2 of them are really, really good shot blockers. They're really good around the rim, those 2 guys. So they have, perimeter guys that are 3-ball shooters. Their interior guys are not 3-point shooters like we saw with Mercer, but their interior guys are physical around the rim and defensively more shot blocking than what we saw with Mercer. So I think that, as kind of we've, start talking to our team about them today, is we've got to guard the 3 for sure. I'm not going to say who the starting lineup's going to be, but there'll be changes for sure. Probably more than one. We got a couple more days until we really get into it. But there'll be changes, just because we're still trying to figure out who we are. I mean, that's part of the, what I wish if someone said, hey, here's a wish list for changing college basketball. I wish we had more exhibition games or secret scrimmages to try to figure out. But I don't know if anyone notices, but last night, there's a lot of upsets. I mean, Hofstra, Speedy Claxton did an incredible job. I actually watched some of that game when I got home last night on tape. They could have beat Houston at Houston, and Houston's a great home team, and they're so well coached. Virginia loses to Navy. UC San Diego went and popped Cal Berkeley at Cal. That was a Division III program a few years ago. So you got to come to play right now in college basketball, especially early in the season, or you're going to take a loss. And you just look. I think last night there was like 10 teams that maybe were surprise winners last night. 10's a pretty large number.
Scotty?
Last night it looked like Jalen had a little cut on his head and he landed on his back once. He's still found a way to be productive. I mean, what did you think was most valuable that he brought, or what impressed you most?
Yeah, I didn't really know about his back, Scotty, until I got home and my wife asked why I continued to play him. She said he was grimacing and went in the back. I never noticed that he went in the back, so I have to have a little bit better peripheral vision off the floor. He's in getting rehab right now. As I walked over, he's in with Matt on the training table. So hopefully, we're not practicing today. So hopefully tomorrow when we get back on the floor, hopefully he'll get that back a little bit looser. The face was, he's fine on that.
It's the value that he brought, kind of in spite of that.
The value, I guess he's now considered a point forward for us. I think he was second in the game in assists. His 5, I think Alvarez had more assists than he did, but if you clipped his minutes that he had the ball in his hands, probably was at the lowest end of the team that played, but yet he led us in assists. Other guys had the ball in their hands a lot and didn't come close to his amount of assists. So when the ball was in his hands, something good happened. So the question is, can we take a little bit from what the Denver Nuggets do with Jokic and kind of, put him in different areas? Maybe we change up some of our sets so that he can be a little bit more of a distributor because he's a willing passer and got great vision. So those are some of the things that I'm kind of toying around with.
Two last questions, Nate first.
Just any pattern when you look at that first exhibition game and then last night, to just kind of the slow starts and the struggles defending the three in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of going like this, Nate. I mean, I think that, we give up threes, then we get bricks out and we close out, and then we hold North Texas, a great three-point shooting team, where we play great. And then we address the rebounding and we go out and we dominate the glass. So every time there's been an issue, I feel like we've addressed it the next time, and then maybe we gave it back up. So it was three-point shooting, then it was rebounding. So that's part of the process of playing one game so far. And 2 exhibition games is we're still trying to figure out and plug holes. The one thing we haven't solved is our assist-to-turnover ratio. That hasn't been solved. Did we prove we could defend the three with proper technique and proper execution? I think we did against North Texas. The other two, the exhibition game and last night, we did not. Did we prove we can rebound? Yeah, 2 of the 3, I think, we proved we can rebound. A DC can go in there and rebound with anybody, I think, at his position. But we have not solved our assist-to-turnover ratio. And we've talked about it now for 3 games, so I'm not that alarmed, Nate, necessarily with the 3-ball shooting. I'm not that alarmed with the rebounding. Are they still concerns? Absolutely. But the one overriding thing is taking care of the basketball and getting a shot on goal. That has to improve because right now it hasn't. We still are in the negative assist-to-turnover ratio. So hopefully when you have practices and you talk about it, and you drill it, hopefully it gets rectified. That hasn't been yet.
Final question, Bob.
Hey, Eric, was Jalen, was he that good a passer in high school? And how would you say he's evolved as a passer from maybe when you saw him in high school, what he did last year, or what he's doing now?
I thought he was a good passer, Bob. I thought that for his size and his age, he was probably an exceptional passer even in high school. When you consider and you look at bigs, he's really got a high IQ and he reads. He does a great job of reading the defense. He doesn't try to make any outlandish passes. You know what I mean? I think he reads it. He's deliberate. He throws 2-handed chest passes. But I just think it's kind of natural instinct, I mean, and I think he's way more comfortable with the ball in his hand now than he was last year as a freshman. He might disagree and said, well, Coach, you should have given me the ball more last year. But I do think he's more comfortable. And for a sophomore, 1 game in, to think that we're already thinking about trying to tinker and add some sets and use him a little bit more as a passer maybe than we have is, a credit to how much he's evolved and how hard he's worked.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.